Can you move this?
You can do whatever you like. I was told to keep everything as is.
Yeah, but now I can't see you. Okay, there we go.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours, damn right. It's better than yours.
I can't see it at all. I need something to elevate this.
Elevation-cation. Oh, nice. Would you like more elevation? Yeah? Take the other candle thing. Should I pour more water into the coffee thing?
No, don't worry about it.
But that's gonna it only produces like a tiny bit of liquid. You know how it is.
It's fine. Yeah, so. Right, so you can just introduce yourself to start off with.
I'm Sarir. I'm 25. I live in Hanoi. I've lived in Hanoi for 2 years. I teach debate, amongst other things in life.
Okay. So what is it exactly that you'd like to talk about or get into?
I'm pretty open to talk about anything, to be very honest, whether that's like something about me as an adult now and things that I do every day, or habits or behaviors that I mind, or weaknesses and strengths or whatever.
Okay.
Or talking more about like situations in childhood and history is also cool. I'm very open.
Okay, so if you are aware of your patterns and behaviors right now, what would you say has affected most of them or has created a lot of them? Like, where do they come from?
Where do they come from, or what do I think has created most of them? Both. I don't know. I think it's influenced by a lot of things. I don't know where it would come from. I could maybe start by saying what the patterns are.
Yeah.
Maybe one big one for me is perfectionism. Another one.
In what sense?
So for a long time, I was trying to understand why I feel very lazy and very ambitious at the same time, if that makes sense. So I felt really ambitious and I really wanted to do certain things, but I also felt really lazy because I never did them.
Okay.
Whether that was doing yoga every day or anything, any habit, any project, anything.
Why do you think you never did them?
Because I set really high expectations.
Okay.
And I set unachievable goals. And I always look at what the future perfect thing I want to be only, and I never understood how slow the process to get there is for anything. Like just taking things slowly, a step at a time, without worrying about the big picture and without thinking you fail every step that you don't take perfectly.
Okay.
And then identifying that as perfectionism. The way I look at a schedule, the way everything that makes me anxious, I've identified it now through therapy before as I have perfectionist thinking about certain things, and it's just setting unachievable goals and always failing, basically.
Okay, and what are those certain things that you are a perfectionist about?
The bed sheets.
Yeah.
Can I show you an example?
Yeah.
So I'll be perfectionist about how I make the schedule for the week. Let me find some examples for you. So this will be one model that I'll use for like a couple weeks. Okay. So when I'm making this, you can see this one is empty because by Sunday the system worked for a couple days and then it didn't work anymore because it was too rigid. So this was the schedule, and when I was making this, my concern was more about how they are lined up, and how frustrated I would feel if I didn't space them correctly when I was just putting the time slots, and worrying about this one being one color and the next day being the other color, and worrying about the different shades in front of me, and if I picked up the color, it's all avoidance. So I use the perfectionism as a way to avoid getting the task done, because in both the perfectionism and in everyday, I apparently not only am terrified of failing, okay, not apparently, I know it now. I am not only terrified of failing, but I also set myself up for failure.
Okay, so you self-sabotage.
Yeah, all the time. Love it. Used to thrive off it as a teenager. Better now. But it's a very slow process.
But like, what exactly are you avoiding?
Doing anything.
Because you don't want to fail at anything.
Well, the therapy and the answer, all of that has before told me it's because I don't want to fail. But I feel like there's more to it than that. I still blame myself for just being too lazy to get it together, to be perfectly honest.
Why is that though?
Because, yeah, that's what I was told as a kid.
What were you
as
told?
well. So something I noticed, and again, to how to identify the perfectionism is a behavior I'll talk about at home. When I say I'm very black and white, right? And identifying that again and trying to work on that. Seeing things very black and white, because at home it was also like that. And being an adult and starting to analyze the things your parents did, especially as a teacher, and all the ways you treat your kids that maybe you don't treat your siblings, or all the ways, all those things, all those fun things that you, in your professional teacher thing, the way you talk to children, the way we solve problems, and then you think of like, but why do I think this when this is not how it was at home for certain things? Also, a lot of great things that you realize they're from your parents, and it's awesome. But little things like with the perfectionism, it'll be like, I would find letters that I've written as a child when my mom opened like this one box of all of our old memories. It's like a few years ago. And inside it, I'd written a couple different like letters to mom, to dad, whatever. Dear mom, from tomorrow, I promise to be the perfect girl in the world, to be the best girl in the world. So it'd be all those things that mom would say, like, you have to clean your room every day. You have to, all these things, right? That I wasn't doing because the habits weren't enforced or controlled, and she wasn't keeping her healthy habits, so it was always inconsistent.
Right.
And then it would always be this, from tomorrow, from next month, mom says, from next month I'm gonna diet. She really believed that every month. And she never did it. She never set the example of doing it.
So do you think maybe then it's a mixture of the perfectionism and the inconsistency?
Yeah, it's both, kind of, for sure.
Affects your patterns of setting yourself up for these things and having these big to-do things, but then not really.
It's definitely not just emotional. It's also the mental, and I am a bit anal about certain things. I even like have gotten a comment of, I'm quite a powerful woman, you know, I'm quite dominating, but I've been told sexually I like to be submissive, but even when I'm submissive, I'm controllingly submissive. Right. I know exactly how I want to be submissive and when I want to be submissive. So I'm definitely very, I've got opinions. I like the way I do things, and there are a lot of little anal things that I see, and then also coupled with the inconsistency and the instability. And I think a lot of it is fear of responsibility as well, on any level. I think there's always fear of responsibility as well.
And so have you sort of started working your way towards changing those things? Yeah.
But also every time I work on something, I need to accept it. I need to work on it more slowly. Does that make sense? Yeah. Every time I'm like, okay, I'm like, it's a lifelong process. It's not something that's gonna... But yeah, for sure with like, maybe a year ago, I wouldn't ever even schedule, because the thought of, and the couple times I had done it would make me so scared that I would only do it once every couple months. Try and do the perfect thing for a weekend. Then, whereas now I still do that, and my method's still not working, but it's working better. and it's if I'm inconsistent with exercise, at least I'll exercise for a month and then not exercise for a month, instead of exercise for a day over 3 months.
Right.
Does that make sense? Yeah. So my goal for last year was accept that I'm not perfect. Right. And accept that steps are small, and to just keep taking steps instead of thinking I failed every time I haven't taken a step. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Like, and you've still progressed.
I'm just trying to cheer myself up. I'm like, no, it's okay. Come on, keep going. It's okay. Just the way I do with the kids. I'm like, but you did this, And that's positive talk. And that's the other thing.
Yeah.
At home, it was always the amount of swearing, like Farsi. And now that I look at like memes on social media, it's all about the swearing all the time. It's all about what you call your kids.
Yeah.
Piece of shit that eats dog shit, or do you call your kid like motherfucker or what? It's just the language. But it's not okay.
It's not, no.
And it is a lot of, I don't know, a lot of stuff like that. But yeah, if you ask me more specific questions, I can narrow that stuff down more. But yeah.
Okay. And so with you now, like, can you tell me how you've sort of worked on the things that you're talking about? So like you've spoken about kind of, you know, having that positive self-talk instead of just, you know, annihilating yourself just for not being perfect, which is already an unrealistic goal.
A lot of communication and support from friends. Well, something I'll start with. Like, I'm very open about how these things affect me. I'm very aware of it, and I'm frantically always talking about it with my friends. My friends are very supportive and also identifying when I've progressed.
Right.
A friend telling me the other way, being like, dude, Sarir, but I will say this. First time I'll say this, like, you do seem more productive. And those little things are important, but it's also me identifying that and expressing that makes your friends then, you know, if you have good friends, actually like acknowledge that as well helps. Acknowledging it yourself, seeing the little changes and acknowledging it, accepting it's not perfect, continuing to do it. But mostly it's been about breaking things down and prioritizing.
Okay. So
and doing what you actually have to do. Yeah. So breaking things down would be, let's say, goals. I want to set the schedule for the week. So this week is the week I've decided to be the perfect girl this month. So I'm going to sit down and every day I'm going to do 1 hour of yoga and then 1 hour of writing. And then now that I think about that, I laugh. I'm like, what? But that's what I should be doing. But bro, you can't even sit down for 5 minutes. What the fuck are you doing plotting that?
Yeah.
That simple. Breaking it down to 20 minutes. Still not doing it. Why? Still too much. Breaking it down to 10 minutes. Inside perfectionism, crushing. What? Just 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Crushing. Just do 10 minutes. Still too hard. So I did 5-minute daily yoga stretching program.
Yeah.
Then the video thing advanced to like 15 minutes and I gave up after like 3 weeks. I'm on the second week of having given up. I beat myself up for it. A little bit, not too much, but I know that this is like one of a lot of attempts in the last year, and over time I'm still doing it more.
Yeah.
And every time I do it, I'm a little bit better at it. And I learn what I like better. And this one, I started doing it more, and now every day I miss it a little bit. So I'm trying not to, and I'm like, no, I need to decide to do it again. I'll do it again. And then I feel, now I'm anxious because that, for example, was one thing I really did well, and now I've not been doing it, but I also know it's because my routine in other places messed up, but then it's again anxiety. So now how I have to deal with that is to just break it down again. I need to go back and do the first day again of like 5 minutes and just try not to beat myself. I don't know, I don't have the answer for that. One is breaking it down. The other one is to support breaking it down. What are the other things I said? There's one more I said. How to manage it. Acceptance.
How do you manage it?
I don't always. You know, it's everything is waves. Just trying over time to become more balanced. Just keep moving forward is another way, I think, you know?
Yeah.
Accept where you fail and understand where you've improved and keep going and try not to worry too much about it.
Yeah, but how do you get to that place of acceptance?
By failing a lot. I'm going to turn on the air conditioner.
Yeah.
By failing a lot.
But like, what do you tell yourself to finally get to accept that, you know what, I'm not perfect and I'm not going to be perfect, because that's not a real thing?
By failing. By trying to do that so many times and failing so many times to the point where you have to accept that doesn't work. For me, I'm like, okay, I'm depressed. This is like a few years ago. I am now depressed. I am now depleted. I I can't go this far down next time.
Right.
So next time you're depressed, okay, but try and go a little bit less further down. If you do dip really, really far down again, it's okay because you know how to come out of it. And you just I keep riding that. And over the years, I am healthier. I am better. I do a lot more things. I am more organized. But I also feel more anxious. I will say this, ever since I do feel like I let go of my perfectionism and do things, and a lot of things, I mean, yoga is like one example. There are a lot of good habits that do happen, or a lot of things that are better. I still feel more anxious lately. And I think it's the perfectionism creeping in as well, you know, inside. So currently, I don't think I'm dealing with it really well. So it's hard to focus a lot on what I'm doing well.
Well, how did you deal with it before, the anxiety? What do you think is bringing the anxiety?
I don't feel like I'm doing enough. I'm still failing.
But what is it like? What are you expecting from yourself that you feel like you're not giving yourself?
Yeah. I just feel like the tasks are never finished. And I still feel like I don't work as hard as I should.
Should according to who? To
me.
What level?
According to me, apparently. Anytime I've been in therapy, everyone suspects at first. Sorry, I'm not reflecting on this on you, just like in the past. That there's, especially when I was younger, that there's pressure coming from my parents or from a boyfriend or something. But it really is all just me. But maybe it's not. Maybe there was some pressure there that's feeding into it now as well. There was always a fake level at home of how we pretended everything was. Right? And I say that one really good thing that I've discovered about my past is we were all taught to respect my father, but my father was not worth respect. And he didn't live with us. He visited us a few times a year. So when he was there, life was the perfect thing he expected. When he wasn't there, everyone did their own thing. And we were never allowed to tell him that we disrespected him. Even though he knew we didn't actually agree with him, even though he knew we did whatever and we knew on some level, no one ever talks back to him. No one could ever say, bro, by the way, none of us believe in religion. No. To this day, I still can't say that to him. When I call him once a year after cutting him off for years. So the figure that we were taught to respect was not worth respecting. Not just in my opinion, but in everyone's opinion every day in our life. So what does that do for a young teenager or a person? The thing of respect and authority, fucked over. I realized it as a teenager when I was in school. I was like, I do not respect authority because the authority that was laid in front of me at home, no one respected. And it was cool not to respect it. It was weird if you did respect it because it was so irrational. So that would be one. And the other thing was like, when you don't have rules at home, or when the rules your parents set or the household or the values you and all your siblings and the whole family evolve against, I am responsible for creating everything. Because I always had the ideas that opposed, that means that the ideas that were given to me at home, I don't trust them, I don't believe them, and I have to fight against them, which gives me a bigger responsibility to create my own ideal path, success, everything. And I think that's where the pressure comes from. I feel like even now that I have a good relationship with my mom, I don't trust her advice on issues. I'll go to her for comfort for when I'm sick, when I don't know how to cook something, when I'm sad, sure. But she's never the person who has the words that I need to hear. And I think not having that compass means I have to create my own compass and support and network. And I have, but I feel like it's a lot of responsibility and it bears down on me as well. Yeah, something like that.
I can imagine. Yeah, and I want to ask something.
Please.
So since you say that your father demanded this level of respect and, you know, these ideas and things, do you think the pressure could also come from, you know, having to have a certain front or a certain level that you're supposed to or expected to be meeting, and yet you actually have your own levels which aren't the same, and so that kind of creates a friction of sorts.
What would the friction cause?
The anxiety. Because you kind of have two expectations. You've got the expectation of the front, which
but what if you don't
always
care?
been
What
there,
if you didn't care about the expectation of the front?
but you still had to present it
Right.
to somebody who you were forced to respect and
I don't
and kind
think
of
I
be led by.
understand. I don't think I have ever explored
Mm.
that. I don't think I've ever explored the fact that because I thought because I never actually believed the rules, I don't remember the switch that happened in my brain so much, or I don't remember, I guess, the effects of it, of how hurtful it was to have to put up a front in front of my dad or my brother. I don't really remember that. I feel like I've blocked it out a lot. I feel like I just remember, well, I don't agree with it, so it's fine. Does that make sense?
But I mean, you did still do it though, and you still felt
yeah, for
like
a time.
you had
Yeah, for a time
to
you
do
had
it.
to.
Yeah.
I guess I always just pretended it didn't affect me that much because it was temporary. That was my defense mechanism. Or apathy.
Right.
And then I tried to use apathy when I got overwhelmed. And then I stopped doing everything. That was a pattern for a long time. I had to stop as well. That's the other thing as well, is just I just freeze. Now it'll just be on some days or a few days, but in the past I would freeze for months. Can't do it anymore. And just stop doing everything.
Right.
Until I'm forced to do something else. If I look back at patterns of like my first relationship in first year of uni, high school, last year of high school, same kind of thing. Whereas now I won't let it get that far.
And how
It
did
could
you come
again.
to
It
that,
could
though?
again maybe in the
But how did you come to that?
by failing. Like I went to uni for a year, did okay, went to uni another year, had a toxic relationship, then stayed in that relationship, spent all my savings, didn't think about next month's rent, worked a couple hours a week at a bar, just support, didn't think about anything, failed. I was left with nothing. I was left depressed. I was left the most anxious. I was really, that's the worst I've ever been, worst state I've ever been in my life. I had to move back home. Ding, 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 ding. As soon as I moved back home, I was like, I have failed. No problem. I'll pick myself up. Started meditating, started all this stuff, and I sorted it out. And after that, I always knew no matter how far down I dip, I can get back up again.
Right.
So that helps, but also, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that does help a lot because you know that you do possess the ability to actually bring yourself out of whatever situation is in front of you right now, and you actually do have something to kind of look forward to as opposed to just feeling like this is what it is and this is how it's always going to be.
It's cheesy of like the whole thing of when you hit rock bottom, then you...
Is when you, yeah.
I think people hit rock bottom again and again anyway.
Right.
But I also think that maybe people who... I wanted to hit rock bottom. I did. I wanted to, because I'd always thought if I hit rock bottom, then I'll bounce up. That's also a way to procrastinate. Having to do stuff. That's the other big one, procrastinating. Procrastinating is a huge one. And no, you know what? I'm going to give myself an acknowledgement. Thinking of procrastinating, how much I procrastinate now, something. Thinking about last year of high school where I would procrastinate all night and stay up all night and torture myself without sleeping all day and skip school the next day because I still hadn't done it, and then skip the afternoon classes. I'm doing a lot better. Doing a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that also then that kind of coincides with the being lazy thing that you feel like you are sometimes?
I'm super lazy person. It's a personality thing. There are people who are like, I'm also very extroverted, but I'm also very introverted. I like to be alone. I like to spend time alone. Another thing that I think has helped is identifying how much time alone I need and knowing I need to have 2 or 3 hours of the day where I can be at home, and only for like an hour of it I have to clean and do stuff.
Yeah.
So if I want to sit on the couch for 2 hours and then do that, okay. If I want to do it in 20 minutes, just clean a little bit, I can do that. That really helps me. And that's therapy last year taught me that. He was like, whoa, why do you schedule anything when you finish work at 7? You're setting yourself up for failure. Now I just don't schedule things, and I do more spontaneous things, and I see less people, and it's just great. Like a lot of those things as well, like just not setting yourself up for failure, looking at anything and being like, is this achievable? You're still gonna set to achievable because you're slowly bringing it down, but just trying to do that with everything. Even this was me being calmer than what I had in my mind.
Yeah.
You know? And I'll show you one that I did yesterday. This was a couple days ago. This is my weekly plan for this week. So you can see this one's really ugly. Mm-hmm. And I almost went back and started again every day that I was planning. I kept almost going back, like, oh my God, it's too much. But I didn't. I just left it really messy. But then also, yesterday I got fed up and I did it again. And you can see I haven't even had time to fill it in. And life is just going by. Actually, I don't need to do this. I know my schedule in my head. I should just... Then, if I want to put it in an app, then I'll start downloading all these apps. I'll start looking at all of them. And So I just stopped and just did my week.
Yeah, so it helps to just sort of just go ahead and do things as opposed to over-planning all the time.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I guess that's a big difference as well. Is before I would just only fail. I would just fail at almost everything, whereas now I fail very little. I still fail at some things, a lot more than other people, but I fail a lot less. And I feel better about the things that I do and all that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, would you call it failing though? Or, I mean, it's just, is it a big train smash if those things don't happen?
Right. Yeah, I've heard I have to think that as well. But if you're not doing it, it must not be that important. Right, there's that as well.
Yeah,
but there are very important things that
things that you shouldn't be prioritizing.
Like doing
like,
nothing?
Because you want to... Yes, that is a priority sometimes. Yeah.
The thing is, I guess, the one realization I made is I was like, okay, if this is the expectation, you need to be like sitting on your laptop doing work 8 hours a day, and you don't want to do that. So just accept, okay, maybe we can get here, but like maybe in 10 years. Is that okay? Do you know what I mean? Okay. That has like really calmed me down a lot, actually. But I do think that there are a lot of things that I don't do that I should do. Like right now in my head, there's a couple things really weighing me down. I need to redo these forms, and I haven't done them. And I said I would do them by Sunday, and I haven't done them. I just don't want to do them.
Yeah.
There's one. The other one would be, this other really big one. Just like stuff, I haven't responded to certain letters from certain companies and agencies and things like that. Yeah. For like tax stuff, or I just need to send them the email with the proof that I wasn't in the country. Like it's fine, but I don't do it. Or how long have I needed to go to the bank? Like those are things I have to do. I haven't gone to get like tested recently. I have like, I think I might have a UTI. I often just those things are important things that I don't prioritize. So it's a mix, but there's so many of the other things that get tossed in, and just the way that I approach the scheduling, and then Hanoi and everything changing around me. It's just like, and I'm just like, just don't do it.
Yeah. So then why set yourself up for like a failure?
Because I don't know how to set myself up for better success than this at the moment.
Okay, but I mean, considering the fact that you do know the things that you need to be doing, what is it that makes you then also put in things that aren't really a priority?
Do you think the doctor's thing is a priority or not? Do you think because I'm not doing it, it's not a priority?
No, I don't mean like that.
But like, I don't know myself. I'm asking. Do you know what I mean? What about those priorities that I'm neglecting? Yeah,
but I mean things like maybe you don't have to be cleaning for an hour every single day. You could use that hour for going to the doctor or something like that.
Right.
Like, is it really such a priority to be cleaning if you're cleaning every day and you just miss it for that time being? You're still going to come home anyway and have a couple of hours where you can actually do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it really depends on the day. I don't know. I just think currently in my head, the scheduling is my biggest anxiety, and it has been for the last week or so. So maybe we need to talk about a different thing. Ask me the same question around something else.
Okay. Do you mind talking about the toxic relationship and what was toxic
in the
relationship?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So my first big relationship, we really loved each other. Like our love was very pure, but our love was also very needy.
Yeah.
And we were very codependent on each other. And it was my first big relationship, and I was just like at the foundations of having independence in uni, and I just wanted to like have someone heal my broken inner child.
Yeah.
And that's what he wanted to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we gave each other that. But then over time, especially if you both don't work, one of you is depressed, one of you is bipolar, and you smoke weed all day, every day together, your life becomes, or our life became, smoke, fuck, sleep, eat, repeat.
Yeah.
Sometimes go to work, sometimes do other stuff, sometimes... That is not a relationship or a life. And the issue isn't the two people together necessarily. It's just two unhealthy people being unhealthy together.
Yeah.
And we loved each other so deeply and intensely that it was very like addictive, you know? It's just not healthy. And over time, like certain circumstances of him being bipolar and all of that stuff pushing him to the edge, and me forgetting about life and the fact that I was independent and spending all my money away, just, of course, broke the relationship apart. So we both realized it. And even since being apart for years, like if I've talked to him again once or twice, I'm like, fuck, do you remember like how irresponsible we used to be? Do you remember Amsterdam? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Fuck. And it's okay. That's what was toxic about it. We were very toxic to ourselves and to each other. Would that be toxicity?
Yeah. What is it that you were getting from each other?
Acceptance and love. Right?
Yeah.
And someone who also wants to do nothing. That's what it is.
So do you feel like it was kind of a place where you didn't feel too much pressure to be anything other than whatever you were at the time?
But we were also like, I'll be strict on us, but like Alex did poetry, he was a musician, it was all really inconsistent, you know. We both had like a lot of personality, a lot of artistry, we did stuff, we were very like, some things we were active and we were fun, you know. It wasn't just that, like we were definitely very interested in each other as people. I definitely think if Alex and I had met at a different time, we could have really worked out. Like it, in terms of that, it wasn't like that's the only thing that bonded us. I really loved him, and still, you know, part of you always love your first love very deeply. But great. I think he's a great person and I'm a great person. I just think we were in the wrong place, and I can see now myself having a healthy relationship. I think I'm a lot more capable of doing that now, whereas then I really wasn't. And he would agree. And I think he's in a relationship now, actually. And I'm sure he's capable of leading a healthy relationship as well now, because he's worked on himself a lot and he's not in that place anymore. And we were quite young as well. Like, what do you like when you're young and you're first... Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're in a bad place, you can easily fall into that trap of just becoming super codependent. But we recognized it, and other people also made us stop it. And yeah, in hindsight, it was good. But yeah, that's the toxic relationship stuff. It's just about procrastinating, avoidance.
Yeah, but you didn't really answer my question.
Tell me, what was your question again? You said, how was it toxic?
No. I asked if you felt like you were accepted to be just yourself or whatever you brought to the table at that time, as opposed to having any pressure to be anything other than that.
Yeah, you're right. That's all it was.
Not that that's all it was. But
No. I see what you mean, though. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, especially in the beginning where it was like, I think when you are unwell, you're like, oh, I shouldn't be with anyone, right? Do other people think that? Or like when you first start getting with someone, you're like, fuck, like what if this person realizes how fucked up I am?
Yeah.
I actually think some people are fucked up. Like sometimes you're not healthy. Whether that's a month of your life or whatever. I literally almost got into a relationship in January. And I was having a couple down months, like November, December. And I told this person, I was like, I'm not well right now. And it failed. And it was a bad breakup-ish, but like as soon as it ended, I was like, oh, I was in a bad place.
Right.
I recognized it a little bit, but I didn't recognize it enough. I should not have gone near anyone. Fuck, even after so many years of like being so confident with myself and not being, how did I make that mistake again? But it was okay. I recognized it quite quickly and, you know, like did the things that I usually do to make myself less depressed and be more active, all that kind of stuff, and I was feeling great within a couple of weeks.
Okay.
So
and can you speak about those things that you do to kind of
communicating with friends, communicating with friends, really important. Really important to let yourself cry. Really important. Now I allow myself, I'm like, I'm gonna have a day where I sit at home and I do nothing and I'm fucking sad and I think all the bad things. I let myself wail. I let myself, I rock myself. I tell my friends. I do all of that kind of stuff. Doing like self-care things, like cook for yourself. But just accepting that being sad is okay. Because I've gone through the breakup thing a couple times, I know what I'm like. I can be really sad for like a week. Then I start pulling out of it and recognizing. Again, something that's been really, and my support system now of friends, very much because I'm very like, I'm trying to do this better. I'm trying to like, you know, this week I went, I'll say it to my friends, guys, this week, guess what? Like, I didn't think about her all day. And everyone's like, yeah! You know, I'm really quite acknowledging the steps that I take. Yeah. And I think people around you supporting you in that as well and just doing healthy things for yourself, being more active, whatever it is, will help you through those times. And again, that thing of knowing that it's going to end. It's temporary. Yeah.
Is that something that's
yeah. It's the cleaner. Just come back for the other half an hour of cleaning.
Okay.
1 second. Ở đây anh đánh nhớ chị muốn đi đón vệ sinh và không muốn lại được, nhưng mà bây giờ ở đây anh vẫn phải đi.
Đây không làm được.
Nếu bạn muốn vào ngày mai cũng được, nhưng mà bây giờ hay là chị cha đi làm 4 giờ 3 giờ 4 giờ cha đi chỉ đeo kính thôi. Bây giờ là không đi.
Bây giờ là không đi.
Vâng, khoan 4 giờ 5 giờ cha chưa xem. Là lúc mà khoan 6 giờ 5 giờ lúc nào hay là mai cũng được, bao cha là
lúc nào em đi ra khỏi phòng thì
mà bây giờ là chị muốn được bởi vì ở đây nhỏ ông lớn nhỏ. No, I'm really sorry. Give me 2 seconds just to show. She's gonna clean the bathroom and the bedroom.
Okay.
But I'm asking them to not come clean the windows and stuff. Chị muốn uống gì không ạ? Vâng ạ.
Do you mind bringing me that aspirin?
Oh yeah. Baby, got it right here. Take this one. Yeah, there's 3 left in there. I think I have 1 more pack of these as well.
Thank you.
Okay, some more
Is it
water.
effervescent?
I don't know what
it is.
effervescent is.
It is this that you put in water.
Yeah. Is that what effervescent is?
Yeah. Thank you. That's a lot for effervescent. Do you have another cup?
Did I clean my vibe off the bed or not? That's what I wanted to check for. I was like, is my, you know. Don't worry.
Okay.
Oh my god, the best thing just happened. Yes. I'm so happy. I made one big scheduling mistake. It's the first big one the proper big one I've made, that couldn't be fixed anymore. The calendar kept showing me the wrong date, and I kept booking this girl. I was like, no, but, and then in the end, I ended up booking her. I ended up having to change her twice in that conversation, and then I ended up booking her for the wrong day, the day that was already full.
Yeah.
The calendar was being whatever. And I've been anxious about it. I've been wanting to message all three of them and just be like, can we just do a group workshop? Sorry, my bad. And one of them, I've been praying one of them will reschedule, and she just did. So I don't have to tell those two girls anything now, and everything could just continue as normal. And I'm really pleased. Really pleased. Oh, that's like the thing that made me the most anxious today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't you just go ahead and reschedule?
I was really anxious about it. I just don't want to be bad service. Like, I really messed her around. Like, she asked me for a certain day, and I was like, no, sorry, fully booked that day. Then I ended up booking her on that day.
Yeah.
Telling her that's, you know what I mean? And then it was the wrong day. Then I was like, oh, I can't say anything.
Right.
Yeah. Dilute it with more water.
I don't like it because then I have to taste this for a whole glass.
Yeah.
No.
The two different preferences. Would you like a vitamin tablet? That's a popular drink at my house.
No, I actually did have a vitamin C earlier in the morning.
Do you like the trail mix?
I do. It's so good.
You can always go to the cupboard and take more. Make your own trail mix. What?
It's fine. Just carry on with the conversation.
Tell me.
Yeah, is there anything that you want to specifically get into?
So something that you said to me was about narcissism. And most recent kind of family fight we've had has been around narcissism. I feel like we can't video this with the noise in the background.
We can.
I can say that
Unless
again.
you want to wait for her?
No, I already asked them to not do it, so. Bác ơi, cháu quay video đây. Cháu quay video đây. Nên là cháu không có được nghe âm lượng gì. Xin lỗi. Cháu rất xin lỗi.
Narcissism?
But should we stop wait until the background noise stops a little bit? Okay. So a recent topic has been about narcissism in the family because my mom recently did something that was very narcissistic.
Okay.
My sister is currently very obsessed with the fact that my mother is a narcissist.
Right.
And she really wants me to agree with her. And
you don't?
I just currently don't need to label my mom as anything.
Right. Okay.
And focus on the things that are... My sister's a psychologist.
Okay.
So she will focus on the textbook a lot.
Okay.
And lose sight of her relationships, I think, sometimes a little bit.
Okay.
And then sometimes it comes to imposing those ideas on others, intentionally or unintentionally. So for me, I don't want to hear someone tell me, well, listen, dad's a narcissist. I've realized mom's a narcissist too, and here's why. I just kind of want to keep doing my relationship with my mom my way,
Right.
without having to think
Label
about
it.
label it. But I
Yeah.
also don't really understand what she means by that.
Okay.
So that's why I was like, oh, maybe that'll give me some insight into that, or just maybe that's what I was talking about that and thinking about that, so it came into my mind like that. Yeah,
Well, what do you understand about narcissism?
that's a good question. I guess people who intentionally harm others. Is that what narcissism is?
Well, partly.
Partly. And
in a way.
Selfishness, only worrying about yourself, and maybe some manipulation to get others to always focus around you.
Mm-hmm.
And that ultimately your only concern is yourself and your needs, and you're willing to possibly impose on the needs of others or manipulate others to get what you want. That's my understanding of it. I could be wrong. And I really, like, when she was sending me these messages, I was like, I should probably look up. And I was like, I don't want to do that.
Right.
Now, absolutely, like, I'm interested in it. But yeah, you're right. I don't know what my exact definition of it is.
So in my first video, I kind of explained what a parent who is a narcissist is like. So it's parents who would sort of expect you to be like an extension of them. So whatever expectations they set up for themselves, whether they live up to them or not, they expect that of you. They expect certain things of you and don't expect you to stray from whatever that idea is. And when you do stray, the kind of sort of punishment they give is more guilt tripping, blaming, manipulation, and a lot of inconsistency as opposed to just, you know, making you understand, okay, this is what you did wrong and this is why you're being punished.
I see now why she thinks that. Yeah, okay. Can I reflect it onto this?
Yeah.
So I feel like certain things mom does, yes, are narcissistic, but also in what my sister explained to me, where she's how do I explain this? I think there's a level of immaturity that people have that could mix in with the narcissism.
Yeah, because usually parents who do end up being narcissists, it's because there's a lot of childhood shit that they never dealt with, so it's still having an effect on who they are as adults,
which they then feed
and then pass on.
I feel like the key difference in just what you said now is I don't actually think my mom ever wants to impose her way, because I've been the child, I think, to rebel the most from any idea of what she thought we would do in our lives or where we would live or how. I feel like I've rebelled so much against that, and I've seen how she's reacted. It's not an agreement, but it's also not an opposition. And she is actually just too distracted with her own life to like care and try and impose her own view on others. And she did something that was kind of very much like that and could be seen as very narcissistic. But I feel like certain things she says out of immaturity and literally just not knowing how to communicate with people well could come off very narcissistic for someone who's trying to look for it, because they're so damaged from dad being so narcissistic and damaged from not being able to build a good relationship with mom.
As children, would you say that she was that way, like in a way that's imposing and like bulldozing?
I don't think so. I think my mom is her personality is not confrontational enough to even be like that. I really don't think she's imposed. Her whole life has been about trying to give us some freedom away from that fake thing we pretended to be when dad was there. Yes, she opposes things, but she never follows through with, it's not like a serious...
Yeah.
But can you explain, the wording you said was really good. You were like, they want people... Can you give me your definition of pessimism again? Of narcissism again?
Okay, so it's like wanting your kids to sort of like wanting to live vicariously through them.
Oh, basically. Right. Yeah, and or put it. I don't feel like it's that. I feel like the only thing that's really fed in that would be like that is her fear against us not getting a university degree. That was the one thing that she was very adamant about. When I quit uni or dropped out, she was like, I went back, but she was very adamant of, you need to go back and get that paper. If you don't, you are not my daughter. That's the one thing I've really felt she imposed on me. but I still always felt like even if I didn't do it, she would still love me and we would get over it.
Right.
Maybe she'd be a little bit spiteful about it, but like, who is it?
Right.
About something like that. I really don't think it's like that. I don't even think my mom is mature enough or like has enough energy to really do that.
Is your sister older or younger than you?
Older.
Okay. So do you think maybe she was brought up differently at first? Like how big is the gap?
There are a lot of differences. 7 years of difference. But again, it was this is something very new that's come up in the conversation. And it's very difficult when the person who's being problematic in the family lately is her, when we are all very worried about her mental health, when there have been patterns of paranoia and blaming other people and intense paranoia around me personally for like 2 years. Family supporting, but also not taking sides or really believing because they weren't there.
Right.
Then it started happening to my auntie. Then it started happening with my mom. And now she's just blocked everyone. It's when that's the narrative, it's very hard for me to also look at what she's saying seriously because I see that she did the similar things to me. So are we all narcissists?
Right.
And she's the only one who knows the answer? Because that's the narrative right now. It feels like, look, I figured it out. You guys need to listen. No, bro, you figure it out. You do your own thing.
Where do you think
Share
that's
your
coming
opinion.
from, though?
She has expressed something that was like, she thinks that how does she always put it? Everyone is trying to use her, including mom. Everyone is always trying to use her.
Okay, use her in what way?
Okay, I'll tell you one example of something. This is something that sat in my heart that I've tried to forgive her for years. I can't. My sister's 7 years older than me. We used to go out together in London. Once a year, say twice a year. I knew her friends sometime. When I saw them, I'd be like, oh, cool, Suria's little sister. But it was never something that deep.
Right.
She's quite a bit older than me, so yeah. So I was in my second year of uni, and we started going out together. Like maybe once we went out on a party night together. Then the next year for New Year's, my best friend and I, we wanted to go out somewhere. And we didn't actually have that many options. We're like, okay, let's see. I was like, oh, maybe we could go out with my sister in central London. He's like, cool, maybe we could go out with this. So we texted 3 people. We're like, Robbie and I want to do something for New Year's. What should we do?
Right.
And my sister was like, oh, bro, come along with us. We're going to this rave. It's going to be cool. Robbie and I were like, dope, all in, cool, let's go. So we go, and at that party, I meet this guy. And this guy is someone who 2 years before that, I met him at the other yearly time I go out with my sister. And he's a friend of her now boyfriend. And when we met each other the first time, we flirted a bit, but he had a girlfriend, I think. And this time we met, he was like, oh, last time I had a girlfriend. Really cool. We make out. I go up to my sister. I tell her. She's like, awesome. I go up to my sister and I'm like, do you think it's okay if I go home with him? She's like, awesome. Yeah, your friend can sleep at my place. No worries. I was like, are you sure? She's like, yeah, cool. Next morning I wake up. Did you fuck him? The guy next to me. I'm like, excuse me? Like, switch like that. And I'm like, excuse me? How is that a way to talk to me when you're still like in front of everyone in the morning or just even in front of your boyfriend? And then the narrative, she got really upset with me really suddenly. And I was really confused. And she said, I'm so sick of you pretending like you don't know what you've done wrong. It's not the first time it's happened in our relationship. Again, I'm sure I do things that are wrong that trigger her, and a lot of things that add up. I'm not saying that I'm blameless, but like just in this dynamic. Then it became, finally she told me why she's so mad at me, because I took advantage of her. Wait for it, went on Facebook and looked at the event that she was going to for New Year's because he was going to be there. And I contacted her to go to this party to see him. And I used her. And Nomie, my entire, those moments where you hear a piece of news or where everything around you just melts?
Yeah.
That was one of those moments. I was like, what? I didn't even know you could do that on Facebook. I was like, do you do this? Is that how you know this? And And the level of, and she's like, no, I did tell you I was upset. Do you know that I went up to him and talked to him that night? And I was like, why are you hooking up with my sister? I was like, but you didn't tell me.
Right.
And then she's like, and your friends stayed. I was like, you told me all my friends stayed. What did I miss here? So the paranoia has been there for a long time. So in this, just looking at all the sides of the story, for me, I cannot classify my mother as a narcissist based off of my sister, even though she studies psychology and she thinks that's the case and that's how it's coming across to her. I don't agree.
Yeah.
And the really ironic thing, I was just talking a bitchy girly way instead of a mature way, is that my mother hasn't talked to me in a month because she thinks I'm because my sister's now stopped talking to my mom, and my mom thinks I'm the one to blame.
Okay.
Because I told my sister about this situation, and then my sister got upset by it. And that is very narcissistic of her. Mom now blames me instead of even talking to me first. She says, no, you talked to your sister and you made her against us. So, sister trying to convince me mom's narcissist. Mom did her narcissistic thing.
Right.
Basically what mom did was, for April Fool's Day, she sent a message in the family group chat saying that she's infected with coronavirus and that we shouldn't worry and that she's gonna be okay. Very serious message.
Right.
She's never written a mess in Farsi. None of the other group members of the family that all live in Austria with her have answered, which in my head is like they're all at the hospital right now. What? I wake up in the morning, I see the message in the other part of the world calling everyone frantically. No one's awake yet. Is mom, 'cause in my head, my mother has corona, my whole family has corona, my grandma's dead in my head, my 80-year-old grandmother. And the answer is, why are you making a big deal out of it? It was just a joke. It's like, bro, even if I'm overreacting, can you just accept that you've hurt me? And mom said, yes, I'm sorry. Then my sister calls her, and she is overwhelmed that she's now upset with two people. I called my sister because no one picked up in the morning. So I called to ask her if she knows, because she hadn't answered on the group chat either. She was like, what? Fuck, mom, grandma's dead. So we have it together. Mom blames me for telling her. She's like, why did you tell her? She didn't even notice. She didn't even look at the group chat. Why did you tell her? You told her, now she's left the family again. And I had her yelling at me for hours being like, mom is a narcissist.
Right.
Defending mom, defending myself. Then mom doesn't talk to me for a month. And I'm just like...
Do things like that happen a lot?
We're 6 women in the family. It's a constant paranoid, but mostly with my sister. Mom is also a bit paranoid. She always thinks people, it's just her insecurity. But with Sarvin as well, it would be the insecurity that she was so insecure about me wanting to hang out with her on New Year's that she created this narrative of why I would want to hang out with her, right? And it is all actually, a lot of things lead down to insecurity. So, yeah.
And so do you think maybe it actually really comes from your dad, but he's just not there to blame?
100%.
And so
that's what my mom says now as well.
It's easier to just blame the mom.
Yeah. And my mom says the same thing. She's like, now that he's gone, she doesn't have the thing in front of her to see it anymore, and she's reflecting it on all of us, including me. I was like, yeah, that's that. But talking about these situations is always hard because it sounds so one-sided.
Right.
Like,
in what kind of way?
where is her side to this? Maybe she has something to say that would, I could understand more why she was so paranoid about me and that guy. Or maybe, but when years have gone by and she doesn't want to sit and have a conversation.
No, I see.
There's nothing that you can do about that.
Right.
My relationship with my sister is better. Just keep accepting, burying that, and trying to talk and just try to stay calm, because I've accepted that we're never going to be able to talk about those things rationally.
Yeah.
I'm prepared never to be able to.
Right.
Spending years trying to talk about those things hasn't worked. But my sister's also called me a narcissist before, when we were younger, all the time. So it is a lot of narcissist you, and at this point we're all like, well, we're all either narcissists or she's crazy.
Yeah.
And she's crazy sounds better, so we went for that. It's funny, I didn't expect to talk about this, but it's actually, if there's anything unresolved in my life, like of all it's my sister.
Yeah.
It's the relationship with my sister feeding into the family. It's the thing where we all feel the most helpless, like in modern day family drama. The old stuff we're all like slowly dealing with, you know? But in modern day family drama, this is the hottest topic. Yeah.
And does that affect any part of your life in any way?
I try not to let it, but the thing of not talking to my mom definitely creeped up on me, definitely hurt me. And a few days ago, I was just feeling overwhelmed. I had a good cry, you know, and I saw my best friend at a cafe where I was sitting with 2 other good friends. But as soon as I saw my best friend, I was like, she's like, it's okay. She held me and I was like, I just need to cry for like 5 minutes. She's like, okay. And I just told her, I was like, oh, my mom is, I'm sorry. She's like, I know. And I just let it out and I realized actually how much it's affected me. And maybe, the anxiety is linked to that, isn't it? Yeah. I'm touching my face a lot.
And then how do you think you can work through that? Has it helped, to have your friends to talk to kind of let it out?
Just keep distancing yourself from them.
I'm serious. Do you set up boundaries with your family?
I think I have boundaries. I think I have boundaries, and I think I've told Sarvan that I'm okay because she hasn't penetrated my boundaries. But then she does, like she just did. So I sent the last boundary that was crossed for me. I sent a 2-minute voice recording about all the ways that my boundaries have been crossed, and I never got a reply. So that was a week ago. So I can't tell you how that's gone yet.
Right.
It hasn't. But for Mother's Day, my aunt messaged me and she's like, "You haven't messaged her. She's upset." I was like, but she hasn't answered me. So I just wrote her Happy Mother's Day by text, heart. Didn't call her. That's my way of showing, and she knows that. My way of showing, until you answer me, I'm not going to talk to you. Right. But to be honest with my mom, she's very forgiving and forgetting. I know it's not the best way to deal with things, but sometimes we just do accept that we have different opinions about something. And she's very forgiving and forgetting, and so am I. Once we both cooled down, whereas my sister will need to, if you don't talk to her for 3 years, and then you have a nice moment one day and you start talking, 5 minutes to an hour later, she's going to be like, "So why did you say those 3 words 6 years ago?" And you're like, "What 3 words? I don't remember." "You don't remember? This is exactly the problem. This is it." And everyone's like, and I think my sister knows that my mom and I have that kind of relationship. We're both just kind of, and she sees it as weakness, and she sees it as us avoiding our problems. But when it is a real problem like this time, mom didn't talk to me for a month, and we're still not talking, and we will eventually talk about it a little bit and get over it. Or maybe if enough time passed. But this is the longest I haven't talked to my mom in years. A month is like being angry at each other. It's the longest I haven't talked to her.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say I'm not upset about it. I am. But I also am so far from it. And my life doesn't actually involve them in any way. And I have so much going on in my life that I'm so happy about. And I've created for myself.
Right.
Very grateful for the start they gave me in life, but also I have all of my life going on.
Yeah.
So honestly, just focus on that and just see that as a separate thing that I'm not avoiding, but like I also think from a distance, there's a certain amount of communicating that you can do that's healthy and productive. I don't stress about doing the other ones. Yeah. I came out to my mom, I told her I was into girls. We didn't talk about it anymore after that, but it's also because it's not time to. Not over call. I know when I see her in person, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
If I want to. If I don't want to, and if I do and she doesn't want to talk about it, that's also okay.
Yeah.
But I don't have an expected way that I need her to be because she's already not fulfilled that. And I've already accepted that. So you either accept it and you set your own boundaries and learn how to work around it, but you can't change it.
Yeah. And
the last thing my sister said to me in the last voice recording, she was like, "I've been trying and I can't change her. I can't change her." I was like, oh. Ding, 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 ding. I was like, okay, you are trying to change her. You cannot change her. Right. This is the frustration with not being able to change her. So I don't know. But now I'm saying all this and it just sounds like I'm doing everything right and I'm just not, So I'm like, one of my biggest dreams is to have a few months of therapy with my sister. If one day she would agree to that, I think it would be so beneficial to have a space where, because I think we just don't see each other's sides. And I just love to understand her side and for her to understand my side and for us to figure out how to navigate around that.
Right.
I feel like my mom and I can do that, my sister and I. My sister with anyone that I know in the family can. So I think that's the solution is acceptance. Right. And management of the rest. But unless you accept a part of it, you're if you focus on just the things that it doesn't give you, you're not going to be able to take anything you want from it. I can't call my mom and talk to her about a serious decision I'm going to make. Sometimes I still do, even though I know her, just to tell her. But I still tell her everything that's going on in my life because I know she likes to hear it. And she's actually great at listening. So I just do that instead. You know? Whereas maybe my sister will be like, yeah, but then what does she say? She says all this stupid shit. I'm like, then just don't ask her any questions. Just let her listen. So I think just taking what you can, and I guess I could learn that lesson for myself as well. Right? That I should just like take the things that I can and that I'm giving myself and accept my flaws.
Right.
And just try to work on them. Yeah.
Yeah, because like you said, it is an ongoing thing, and it's not like a sort of a, okay, I'll work on this for like 6 months and then I'll be...
It's a switch, yeah.
You know, perfect, and everything from then on will be happily ever after. It's a constant, like, pendulum shift.
Yeah. And it's okay that it's a pendulum, isn't it?
Because it's fucking life. You know?
Yeah, I also like to prepare myself mentally for like, okay, yeah, over the last few years, generally the pendulum does go back and forth, but I am overall more balanced.
Right, exactly.
But I'm also like, bro, something's gonna happen again in life.
Yeah.
Another about in my 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever.
Because you're in a different level that you haven't
you
been
might
before.
Drop down again.
Well, it's not really dropping down. You're at a different level completely. You're experiencing new things.
You'll be like cooler then. I also think the older you grow, the more chilled out you tend to be. Right?
Because you've done a bit more of life, and you sort
looking forward to that.
To a different understanding. Yeah.
Looking forward to that. Yeah. But also seeing people that are in older ages than you in certain ways that they act and be like, ooh, don't want to be like that. Right. You're like, how much has age really affected you, you know? And then seeing some people who are really chilled. Definitely a lot of my friends in their early 30s or even mid 30s will be like, at this point, I know who I am. All the way. And you do get closer to that. So I'm definitely looking forward to that as well. But it also means you become more picky in life.
Well, I don't really count it as picky. It's just knowing exactly
decisive.
What you want.
Yeah, knowing exactly what you want. Yeah, really recently I was telling someone said that was bossy. And my friend was like, are you bossy or do you know what you want? I was like, I don't know, because I'm also quite bossy. So I'm not going to say that women taking what they want means that there aren't bossy personalities. Yeah. I'm bossy as hell. Yeah. On top of it, I know what I want. Yeah, it's a lot.
And that's fine though. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. I'm exactly like that. You know, I know what I want and I'm very demanding about what I want.
And I have had my mom say once, she was like, what if like your expectations are really high? Would you be okay with like not finding someone? I was like, I really would be. And she's like, that's cool, you know? Yeah. She was like, because at this point, you know, a lot of people that tend to be in relationships can also be in really unhappy relationships. But if you're really...
Yeah, because they choose to settle like, oh no, like, you know, my time is going. And
but that could also be the right decision for someone.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? If someone really would rather live with the consequences of that, but still have...
Right. Exactly.
That's also cool.
You pick what whatever, you know, your poison is.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Anything else? Any other questions? Sorry, I didn't realize you were about to talk.
No, I don't have questions. You can go ahead and speak your mind.
I'm gonna go have another cigarette.
You can do that.
Boy. I like it.
Okay. So, you seem to be aware of a lot of the things. Do you feel like that kind of helps you in any way? Does it help to actually be aware? Do you feel like that maybe makes you put more pressure on yourself or a little less?
That's a really good question. It's something I've heard. I went to a lot of therapy when I was in school. I always had like a school counselor. Yeah. I was very close to because I had a lot of issues at home, and school was a very open and wonderful place. They always supported me. Yeah. And it's the same thing I've always heard. Every time I go to like a counselor, a friend, anything, they're like, you seem to understand it all pretty well. You're very aware. Right. You're very reflective. But no one's ever asked me if that makes me worry about it more. I think it does. In a way, I guess that would be the ignorance is bliss thing, but I'd rather be explorative and worry about being better than not be aware that I can be better.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or like, I'd rather be aware, because I do think the awareness brings you more than it does cripple you.
Right.
So yes, of course, it can make you a bit more anxious or a bit more blah, 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 about certain things, or a bit more worried about achieving something. But for the same token, it is, if the awareness comes hand in hand with wanting to improve,
Right.
then if you're open about it and you're aware and you talk about it and you reflect about it, it's my defense mechanism to stay on top of myself.
Right.
So if I continue to understand myself and recognize my patterns, yes, probably that does drive me crazy, but also that's what's helping me improve. Because if I didn't recognize those things, then I wouldn't be able to put in small tools of change, and I would continue sitting, doing nothing, suffering, which I have.
Yeah.
And even then, I maybe was aware about certain other things in my life, but not these things.
Right.
So I would say the last few years of me being aware about myself or self-progressing has been focusing a little bit less on my past and a lot more on, okay, the life I have for myself right now, how can I make it easier for myself to do the things I want to do? How do I need to look at it? How do I need to approach it? How do I need to not approach it and stay calm about all those things? Yeah, I just think maybe too much awareness and not enough tools cannot be enough, which is why I do tend to like do a little bit of therapy every year. If I could afford therapy all the time, I would always be in therapy. Always. But I do think it's just probably a balance of being aware and actually looking for tools and implementing tools to bring those two things together.
Right.
Definitely sometimes you can be just really aware and not doing anything. I also think mulling is important. I've noticed, like, mulling, I mean, when I told you I broke up with someone at the beginning of this year, I knew I needed to be sad for a week.
Yeah.
And just observe or not observe myself and do nothing about it and just feel it.
Right.
In order to understand it enough to do something about it. You know,
Sure.
sometimes it's just balancing, I think. But yeah, I'd be interested in tools to managing managing and understanding, because I think you're right in the sense that it could definitely create more anxiety in the thinking patterns that you're trying to change even.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah. Would you say you are happier though?
Then
Are you
when
happier though? Are
Yeah.
you happier as
Yeah.
a person right now?
then a few years ago, then a few months, absolutely. I feel so strong, and I'm such a strong person, but I'm also so sensitive and so weak. But I do feel so much stronger than I was a few years ago.
Right.
Just in the sense that I accept myself more, I love myself more, and I'm not dependent on anyone else emotionally. Like, for me to get to a point in identifying, okay, I have missing father things, so I'm going to be reliant on men. So I didn't get this as a child, I need to make up for it by giving myself that. It sucks, but I have to do it. I can either ponder on it sucking, or I can just do it.
Right.
Doing it, lifetime process, accepting you always do it, and just trying to use it as strength for yourself instead of as weakness for yourself. You can look at your alcoholic father and become an alcoholic and say, that's what was shown to me. Or you can look at your alcoholic father and say, my father was an alcoholic, so I'm not going to be an alcoholic. Either way, you'll have pressure on yourself, but it's just about how you choose to deal with it. But yeah, I feel stronger than before. I feel like I do work on myself. I am open, but I'm equally also always prepared in case there's a time again, and when there's a time again where I'm going to feel really low. It's okay, because I know I can come up. And I'm just like hoping that something in life doesn't knock me down a lot again by being aware of it. Yeah.
So you are happy.
I'm happy. Yeah. Oh shit. So if I just accept that I actually am happy, then I can just enjoy things more and stress less about the things that are making me not happy. Interesting. I think Corona has actually also really helped put things into perspective. You know when people are like, sorry.
Yeah.
You know when people are like, eat your food because people are starving. Where's the connection exactly for a child who hears that at home without exposure of that? Do you know what I mean by that? Or just like feeling guilty about being more privileged than anyone else in the world. it doesn't really usually help to just be like, well, you're more privileged, so be grateful.
Yeah.
But now we're in a situation where all of the inequality in the world is coming out more, and in a situation that everyone's experiencing anywhere. And every day I am more grateful than ever. I'm like, I'm so okay that I can still work no matter what. If I work very little, I'm still okay. I have a support network of friends. I have a place I feel like home. I have a place to sleep and feel, oh my God, in this crisis, I'm doing so well. I'm so grateful. I can't complain about anything.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't mind when I lost my job. Like, it was a bit frustrating being treated a certain way by certain employers, but besides that, I'm just like, just roll with it. You know? And that has been really, like, in this time I felt really grateful, and throughout all of it I've stayed really, like, happy and good with myself, because I'm just so grateful that I feel very privileged and guilty, equally guilty, but privileged in the fact that, oh my God, life is actually so great right now. We're in a position where we're good. Yeah.
So when you compare where you are now and whatever you're working towards, and bringing or sort of seeing that you are actually in a good place, does that change anything?
Yeah, I think before, when I was in the crippling state of I'm never going to be able to do anything, whether that's develop any good habit or just not doing anything. Me and Alex sitting around smoking weed all day, just not doing anything. When I was there, I never thought I could be in a place where I could do anything.
Right.
I thought I would never, I was so worried that I would never improve myself. But I already have. And that gets me through. I'm like, I can see now there are steps to be taken towards it, and I take steps. So maybe it's a little bit less of an ideal. When I will tell you something really, I'll try not to be ashamed of it. When I was 17, I was like, I want to have my own NGO that solves all the world's problems by the time I'm 21.
I think a lot of us had that.
Did we? Did we all have it? Shit. Yeah. That was me. I had ideas, Nomie. You know, I was going to save the world. Then I realized maybe I should just try to, like, do my homework. You know what I mean? And just not putting pressure on yourself. Trying. But then I think you start putting pressure on yourself on little things more. Just a constant cycle. But yeah, I'm good. I'm good in life. Yeah. And I'm really grateful, and I encourage anyone to try to develop good relationships with other people, and to ask your friends to also help you recognize the progress you make, or to have people in your life, whether it's your family or not your family, anyone that can give you some acknowledgement of things that you're doing as well that are positive, whether they're nice things you say, whatever it is. Even if you can get it at work, like trying to work somewhere where you feel appreciated, all those things. If we say kind things to ourselves and if we hear kind things from others, it's also a nice way to track our progress. So I can't just say it for my own, I can just say generally, yes, overall, I feel better, I feel happy. Thank you for asking me that question and having me identify that. I appreciate that.
Thank you. I think that would be a great place to end it.
With the phone ringing as well.
Yeah.
1 second. Hello? What's up? What should I say for closing sentiments?
I don't know, whatever you feel like you want to say. What would you say to maybe someone who's in a place that you were in before? Or what would you say to your younger self or yourself then?
That everyone or many people go through periods of doing nothing, and you will always feel like you're doing nothing because we live in a world where a lot is expected of us, and we see a lot of examples of greatness and we want to achieve it. Whatever it is you're trying to do and you feel like you're failing at it, try to understand why you're failing, forgive yourself, love yourself, and take the smallest possible step. All those things that you listen to, like make your bed in the morning. It's so nice. And then if you do it one day and you don't do it the next day, don't be like, fuck, I didn't do it. Be like, oh, I did it yesterday. That was so great. I should do it again sometime. If it's something as small as that, because that's what I do with half the things still. The other half, maybe I started doing them without noticing. But just be forgiving be kind to yourself, be forgiving to yourself, be forgiving to others, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and just try to take any step, and don't take steps with too big a goal in mind. Because if you're taking steps just waiting to achieve that, you're going to paralyze yourself on the way. Just try not to. You already know what you want, and it'll come out in the things you do. So just do what you like and let things happen organically, I think is really important with yourself. Like, just know, okay, I want to be better, or I want to whatever, but just take it really slow and love yourself and be kind to yourself along the way, I think is the only way. And support. Have support from friends, because I really don't know what people do without supportive friends, and I really understand how many people can be in positions where they don't have support. And I just think people should try their best to find some support, join a group, join anything, any way to, and if you tell the people around you, I need support, I need friends. How many times on How Am I Beautiful does a girl write, I'm new here, I need friends? And guess what? She finds friends that way.
Yeah.
We have that kind of community around us. Just try and always keep yourself in a place where you can reach out and try and get some kind of network to support you, because doing things alone is really hard. And something else.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for interviewing me today so patiently and kindly. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Thanks, dude.